Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers, James and Justin, back again with another reaction video. And in this one, we are going to take a look at a new YouTube channel, Better Life, and their video titled 5 Dark Side Effects of Spiritual Awakening That Nobody Talks About. Ooh, so this might be good. So hold on to your hats, folks, and let's dive on in.
Waking up spiritually is akin to finally breaking the surface after a long dive. Suddenly, you find yourself gasping for the fresh air of reality, while others continue swimming in a pool of illusions. This awakening changes the fabric of your existence. From that point on, there's no going back. Doors behind you vanish, and all that's left is the path ahead. In this newfound freedom, you also discover a sense of confinement. It's like standing on a mountaintop, breathing the fresh air, but looking down to see people you care about stuck in the valley below. They're seeing content engrossed in their daily routines, seeking comfort, power, and the illusion of control. You can't help but wonder, is my awakening a blessing or a burden? Why am I seeking self-discovery when others are content in their chosen ignorance? It's a challenging journey, but rest assured, the trek is worth it. Though the terrain may be rough, the vistas you'll witness are beyond imagination. But just like any transformative experience, spiritual awakening comes with its own set of side effects. They're neither good nor bad, they simply are. Think of it as a period of adjustment, like acclimating to a new altitude. You're breathing different air now, and it may take a little time to get used to it. Today, we'll delve into the lesser-known side effects of spiritual awakening, those hushed whispers that nobody prepares you for, but almost everyone experiences. 1. You are confused. Picture this. You just opened your eyes after being submerged in a vivid dream, and for a moment, everything is quiet. Then reality floods in, replacing the silence with questions and puzzling thoughts. Your mind starts to whirl, asking, what just happened? Is this normal? Why is this happening to me? This is the labyrinth of confusion, and it's a place many of us find ourselves in after a spiritual awakening. Even if you've spent years on the spiritual path, reading sacred texts and diving deep into practices, the experience of awakening is like landing in an unknown country, where the language, customs, and even the air feel foreign. The mind loves to navigate known landscapes, but awakening is a territory it can't map out. It's beyond the scope of imagination, something you can't prepare for with mere thoughts or concepts. So, you begin to grasp for anchors in spiritual teachings, books, and philosophies. You start scouring scriptures, seeking the wisdom of the ancients, yearning to validate your experience and give it a name. So what can you do in the midst of confusion? Feeling confused is natural, but don't let it escalate into panic or obsessive searching. While it's tempting to find immediate answers, sometimes the most profound wisdom comes from sitting with the unknown. There's a lesson in the very confusion you're experiencing. It's like a fog that forces you to slow down and pay attention to your surroundings, to become present. Instead of compulsively seeking external validations, allow moments of silence to seep in. Silence in its subtle power serves as a bridge to a deeper understanding. It connects you to a state of being that doesn't require immediate answers, a space where you can just be.
Now, I don't want to undermine the information that is being given here, but I was just thinking that I wonder if some of this information is becoming outdated as it's being produced, in the fact that this information is out here now, that there's more and more information constantly coming out. People are not so isolated. The world is becoming globalized, and there's more people who are probably even going through a situation like this. It might not be as confusing. I think there's always, anytime you learn anything new or you kind of like get into some of the more turbulent waters out there, there's going to be some confusion going on. But I think there might be something positive or good when just, taking into account the access to information and people who, like the amount of people who might be going through this all at the same time.
Right.
Yeah,
no, it's interesting. Like, it's amazing humans can agree to anything at all. Like, how wonderful that is, that even if you were alone, you could go to a grocery store and be like, hello, you can understand me. You know what I mean? Because when you get down to it, our experiences are all so different. You could judge the hell out of someone and be like, he's not really awake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't know. You don't know the degree to which somebody's awake. It's
true.
It's kind of interesting, Like, to me, I feel like just a very tiny sub-story, it's like awakening to me kind of reminds me of just not believing. It's like a doing away of believing, but like believing that you're a thing. Because like, at some points in my life, let me try to veer away from judging anybody else. But like, I suppose at some points in my life, the persona persists even to when I'm alone. Like, it's the same voice, like cutting this bread up, and like, man, I feel bad for that person, and like just this bullshitty identity that people are like, well, what's realer than that, dude? It's like, well, then that's the whole thing, is getting beyond every superficial thing and essentially becoming aware for the first time and being like, there's not words associated with it, because any words would be a part of some superficial veneer. Like, the thing you tell yourself to feel better. It's not that.
Yeah.
What is below the thing you're doing to like subdue your panic attack you're having right now? Like it's below that. It's that's superficial. If that gets your programming back online, so that you can continue to do tasks like a good worker, you are in the matrix.
Yeah.
But getting beyond that to like pure observing is, words don't suffice probably.
Yeah.
When you quiet the chatter of the mind, you create room for your inner wisdom to speak. So, while it's natural to turn to spiritual texts or teachings for clarity, remember that the ultimate compass is within you. You don't always need a map to navigate the waters of awakening. Sometimes you just need to be still and let the currents guide you. Your journey may be full of questions right now, but these questions are signposts, nudging you to explore further and deeper. Instead of fearing the unknown, try embracing it. The beauty of awakening is that it continually unfolds, revealing layers you didn't even know existed. Confusion isn't a roadblock. It's more like a detour, a winding path that may be longer, but is rich in scenic vistas that you would have missed on the straight road. Take it as an invitation to dig deeper, to listen more closely, and to exercise a level of patience and openness you may not have tapped into before. 2. You feel disconnected. Imagine finding a new radio station that broadcasts music resonating deep within your soul. But as you tune in, you realize other stations are now static, distorted, or completely silent. This encapsulates the feeling of disconnection that often comes with spiritual awakening. As you draw closer to your authentic self, you may find that the circle around you begins to change. Interactions with old friends become tricky. You find yourself retreating into silence when once you would engage freely. Topics that used to captivate you now feel superficial. People who were your anchors in the past suddenly become like distant stars, still visible but far away.
You ever see that? You remember that scene in The Office when Michael gets really depressed? Like I think his whole company roasts him and he gets depressed.
Yes.
He like wears a turtleneck and he like acts more sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's, to me, like, although it's very common, there's something a little frightening about somebody that believes that who they are is the voice in their head. Like, I'm the one that articulates. Like, that's not you. That isn't you.
Yeah.
And I think the tricky part about it is this, that when you get below all that stuff, like when you get below the thin veneer of like identity or character or whatever. Like, I dye my hair blue, so that's my soul. Like, it's not your soul. It's literally like a superficial thing you've done. And then below that, there's like some dialogue that you could confuse, which is you, and you're going down and down and down. Sometimes when you get to the bottom, there's like a dense layer of trauma. Like, well, shit, man. If I can't be my identity, all I got below that is like an ocean of anxiety, like turbulent waters. You know what I mean? And I think that can be frustrating sometimes when you're seeking, you're spiritually seeking, and you're like, you know, you're using drugs to delude yourself into thinking you got it, and you're using your imagination to thinking you got it, and you're hanging out in groups of even, you know, I'm done with this party, I want to be around some other spiritual people, and it just seems endless bullcrap. You know what I mean? To get to the final frontier, which is like the truth of it, maybe you realize and you get to that, and it's like there's actually nothing there. It folds in on itself, and it goes back to being like only about the superficial stuff again. Yeah. You know, like this is an odd
this is kind of like relating to that, right? You know, like the parties and the...
But look at this guy. In the image, he's like literally 4 feet away from everybody, like being pensive. I'm like, that's inappropriate. Yeah. Get back around the other people and communicate.
Yeah. But it's playoff season right now where we live, right? It's like, and so everyone's talking about hockey everywhere. I can't buy a cup of coffee without seeing me like, hey, did you watch the Leaf game last night? There was a time in my life where I was deeply enthralled with that stuff. Now I couldn't care less. Yeah. I couldn't care. So it's like, it's weird. And like, I know what it's like to go to venues and be like, let's talk about something better than pucks and nets.
Oh, yeah. No, like, I identify even with this fellow that's off to the side. I get it. But I'm saying that's not it. Like, lest you be carried away in the lonely wanderer world. Yeah. There's more reality to get to. There's more like looking around and being like, okay, how full of crap am I here?
And let's get serious. Like, I'm not saying that it's not like there's no place for that. Like, you can talk about superficial things. Yeah. But eventually, like, you do like to be able to talk about some, you know, some deeper more substantive things, man. Yeah. But, so that's, I feel like, and then there's people out there who don't, they're like, they do everything they can to avoid ever going there.
Yeah, but see, you start to resonate with scriptures where Jesus is talking about, like, doing unbelievable things, and don't marvel at what I do. You're going to do unbelievable things when you simply learn how to trust yourself. Because I think you can, like, learn what other people are about. You could be deceived thinking, I'm the only deep person. Nobody wants to talk about deep stuff. It's not true. You can see through it and be like, no, they refuse to talk about deep stuff. Yeah. Why? Because deep stuff can be frightening sometimes. Oh, yeah. And it can be, you know, some people bury the trauma underneath with, like, complete superficiality. You'll never not hear them talking about, and like, nice day today, huh?
Also, if you break from the pack and you can find just one person to talk to, usually you'd be surprised. Someone who comes off as like very like hiding all that stuff in, if you can get them alone, usually you can have an awesome conversation. Yes, it's just because the more people you squeeze into a pack, usually the like, I don't know.
Everybody
what you're allowed to talk about.
The lowest common denominator, like, which is like, wait a sec, what are the fundamental rules of society? Let's resort to that, you know, lest we turn into a cult here, or lest we, you know, become weirdos. Let's like stay within the confines of the overarching themes of culture.
What did they say at like a family venue? They're like, don't ever bring up politics, religion. I'm like, that's all the stuff everyone cares about. We're not allowed to talk about it. We're not allowed to talk about it.
We're part of a seasoned family now. We've gone through pretty tumultuous times where everyone was talking about that. And it's kind of nice, actually, to go back to just a little more soft talking stuff. Yeah. Only when you've been through it. Only when everybody's tested their beliefs enough get-togethers. So you're like, let's just like... Which is why sometimes I say, like, I wonder if one day humans will evolve to the point where we just sit near each other. Yeah. Just sit under blankets near each other at a get-together. Without words. Yeah. Words only take you so far.
Your priorities shift rapidly. Awakening can feel like you're inhabiting a new skin. And it's not uncommon to feel lonely in this transformative phase. You may find yourself yearning for meaningful conversations and connections that fuel, rather than deplete, your spiritual energy. What can you do amidst the disconnection? Feeling disconnected is not a call for you to squeeze back into your old pants, so to speak. Embrace the uniqueness of your new self, even if it confuses or alienates others. This journey isn't about them, it's about you. As you evolve, you may find it difficult not to get influenced or hurt by the majority, but it's crucial to remember why you embarked on this journey in the first place: to be authentic to yourself. This period of doubt and vulnerability is a delicate time that requires safeguarding your newfound self like a tender sprout. Connect with spiritual allies who listen without judgment and provide a sanctuary for your evolving beliefs. Choose spaces where your heart feels heard, rather than places that force you into explaining yourself or defending your journey. It's akin to being a sapling in a forest of ancient trees. While they may tower over you, remember that you too are growing, at your own pace and in your own direction. It may be isolating at first, but you're not alone in this. Reach out to kindred spirits who can offer nourishment to your soul, the same way the rain and soil nurture the sapling. Disconnection isn't so much an end as it is a transitional phase. It's like crossing a bridge that links the old world to the new. On the other side, you'll find different but equally valuable connections that align with your authentic self. 3. Increased pain. Awakening isn't a magic switch that suddenly dissolves the ego and bathes you in perpetual serenity. In fact, becoming awakened often means you'll experience more pain, not less. Why is that? Because awakening peels back layers of ignorance. It's like flipping a switch that turns on a brighter light in a room. Now you can see everything, even the dust and the stains that were always there but not visible before. When awakened, you'll find it easier to slip into a state of heightened awareness. However, habits are powerful, and sometimes you'll revert to your old, unconscious ways. It's during these times that the contrast becomes palpable, and you feel a sense of pain that's deeper than before. In an unawakened state, you might not even realize the impact of your actions on yourself or others.
That pain part is interesting because I feel like the pain that can happen when, say, your heart chakra is opening or you're becoming more aware, you're sort of like a raw nerve, and there's a tenderness to it, right? It's pretty beautiful sometimes, when you see somebody that's actually more sensitive. They're more sensitive to how their words affect the people around them. They're more, the best way I can describe it is like sort of tender. They're not walking around like an ignorant, arrogant person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not, blaspheming or whatever the word is. They're not walking around just being stupid and arrogant and prideful. They're sort of humble. And when it happens to somebody that otherwise would have been like mighty, it's quite the thing to observe. I think it like blesses the surrounding area. It's like, behold, the king has been humbled and now he's like a tender heart.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing depending on your position in life. I just thought I'd get real for a second here.
Yeah.
If you're already somebody that like life is kind of makes you be humble because you're like a person of low means, it can still happen, but it's not going to be, it's not the same damn thing, man. And it's kind of frustrating when sometimes when people would like argue that, you know what I mean? Like act as if things are the same no matter who performs it. It's there's a different effect when one person is even something as unanimously agreed upon as good at like charity.
Yeah.
Your charity has a different effect depending on who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you see somebody that has the power to affect things and can be tyrannical if they wanted to, actually being tender, it's amazing. And that is a part of this. The pain that comes with it doesn't mean don't do it. If you're a person of low means and you're going through this spiritual change and then you all of a sudden become kind of like a tender heart, doesn't mean don't do that, but it might be more of a challenge for you because people are going to be like, make fun of you for being that way. You're so soft. You're soft. Just grow a thicker skin.
Yeah. Especially
what they're really saying when somebody says that to you is like, be asleep and ignorant like me. That's what the truth of what that statement is.
Yeah.
Unless you're like going to battle, in which case it's like you're gonna have to get over some stuff. You have to like bury that if you're going into battle.
Yep.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe even there you could be sort of awakened. as a warrior even. I don't know. I don't know all things.
But once awakened, every emotion, every interaction carries weight. This is because your connection to your inner self, as well as to the world around you, becomes more intense. It's not just about your own pain anymore. You become acutely aware of the suffering of others and even the collective anguish of the world. Your senses are heightened. Empathy and sensitivity, once side products, now become the main features of your awakened state. As counterintuitive as it may seem, the pain you feel is actually a positive indicator. It shows that you are deeply in tune with life. Attempting to block out the pain won't work. If you try, it will only return with greater intensity. Instead, find a way to express this heightened sensitivity. Let it out. If tears come, let them flow. If a scream is building within you, let it out. Channel this emotion into creative endeavors like writing, painting, or gardening. Allowing yourself to express pain is not a sign of weakness, but of profound strength. By giving pain an outlet, you're not just releasing it. You're also transmuting it into something beautiful or meaningful. Think of it like a pressure release valve. If the pressure gets too high, you need to let some of it out to prevent an explosion. In essence, increased pain post-awakening is a call to be more authentic, more compassionate, and more in tune with the complexities of life. Acknowledge the pain, but also see it as a tool for deeper understanding and connection, both with yourself and with the world around you. 4. You go through an existential crisis. The journey of awakening often ushers you into a perplexing stage, an existential crisis. Sure, the term gets tossed around casually, like a trendy buzzword, by many who question their place in the world. But when you're truly awakened, the inquiry of who am I stops being a casual riddle and becomes a pressing dilemma that gnaws at you from the inside out. Your old identity, the one you wore like a familiar jacket, suddenly feels too tight or too loose. It's as if you've outgrown it, yet you're not quite sure what your new size is. You're caught in a limbo, unable to connect with your old self, but also unsure about this emergent you. Questions like, why am I here, or what's my purpose, are no longer abstract. They become urgent, compelling you to seek answers. This is a tumultuous phase. It's like standing at a crossroads, but instead of 2 or 3 paths, there are countless routes spiraling in all directions, each one claiming to be your true path. It's daunting, and let's be honest, a bit terrifying. Here's what you can do during your existential crisis. Firstly, acknowledge that you can't turn back. Your old self is a chapter that's ended, and trying to reopen it will only bring you discontent. Secondly, don't rush the process. Unanswered questions are uncomfortable, but they also signify that you're on the brink of a deeper understanding. If you have access to a mentor or guide, now's the time to lean on their wisdom. However, if you're going at it alone, place your trust in the universe. Think of it this way. If you are on a long road trip and you don't see any signs, it doesn't mean you're lost. It just means you haven't reached the next marker. Continue driving, take in the view, and before you know it, you'll find the sign or signs that guide you toward your next phase of the journey. Your existential crisis may feel like a never-ending loop of uncertainty, but it's also a stage that almost every awakened individual has to navigate. And remember, the fact that you're questioning is proof that you're growing. Even if answers aren't readily available, the quest for them is a form of progress. It might not seem like it now, but this is a valuable step toward a deeper understanding of who you truly are. 5. You may feel a sense of entitlement.
Just before we jump into 5 there, how would you define an existential crisis?
How to define it?
Yeah.
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. You know, when I think of existential crisis, I feel like struggling to accept my existence at where I am. Like it's in there, existential existence, you know, and it just makes me think of like becoming aware of your surroundings to a degree where you're like you're almost in a panic of like I need to get out of this. And so you're like something has to change. And if you've ever gone through something like that, I would say take it, like calm down. Like you don't have to do anything radical. You know, sometimes just being able to acknowledge that something's wrong. Like it's almost like coming online that I'm in pain. It's like realizing you're in pain when you didn't realize you were in pain. And then you're like, I have to do something. You can slowly navigate out of those waters. You can, you know, create a plan for yourself, an exit strategy, and go with that. I don't know. And then like you've mentioned before, like maybe sometimes it requires something more radical. Like,
it depends.
It's time to take a big step. Yeah,
well, it depends on how much your survival is baked into it. There are people that if you confront them with the truth, they'll... Okay, take it easy. I'm going to speak hyperbolically for a second, okay? Yeah. I'm not an authority. You don't need to worry about what I'm saying. But let's say, for instance, that there's somebody where their identity is like baked into survival. So if you reveal to them the truth of themselves, they'd rather end. Their mind would they'll go catatonic before they'll acknowledge the truth.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, you're not as hot shit as you think you are. They'd be like, because not being hot shit means they've got no value or some trauma beaten into them.
Or they think that.
I am kind of the person that's like, we need more existential crises. Go have some crises, everybody. Why don't you leave that place of employment you're at and go have a crisis? Because we live in a bullshitty world. But that's radical, man. That's friggin' radical. And you're probably right. You should take it easy on yourself and don't push it. But the thing I actually thought was neat was that it said... I like radicalness, if you haven't been able to tell. I like radical claims, like when he said expressing pain or you know, the willingness to express your pain can be a sign of profound strength.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what our society teaches you. It's like, keep that shit to yourself. Yeah. And if you have to talk about it, go hire someone that will listen to you in secret.
Yeah.
That you pay money to. Because there's no weakness here.
I don't know if it's like, what is it like? I don't know if it's red pill communities or whatever. I always get these things on my TikTok feed that are like, don't ever let your woman see you cry. Yeah, because she'll instantly find you less attractive.
Well, it depends on
there's no going back.
Yeah, but that's true for some people. There's some people that are very, like, whatever the word is, I'm going to use effeminate or feminine, that find their counterpart in someone that's hyper masculine. Yeah. That's true for people. But if you've been snared by that and it's not authentic to you, you might want to go let out some tears and find your appropriate counterpart. Yeah, if that's the reality, that you're a softie, then you might find your counterpart in someone that's got some strength that you don't have.
Yeah.
It's like as simple as that. Yeah. It all depends. There are some people that, like, you know, I've been at funerals before where you're looking around, it's like the moment of dropping the body into the grave, and then you spot the biggest, toughest person there. It's got like a tear coming down their face. That'll get you. That'll like, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. This is serious. This is intense. The mighty one is crying. It depends on who it is. If it's some whiner, some weak little whiner we all secretly like resent and hate, you know, like you think about the meme of like some like wokester like screaming, you know? Yeah. There's a difference between that and someone who's fucking mighty, who's expressing like, this is for real. And everybody's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm saying both are authentic. I'm not judging the wokester whiner. It's just as valid. Yeah. Both versions are valid. Being able to express yourself is profound strength, but you should know that depending on who you are, you get arrested for expressing yourself in some places.
Yeah.
Just don't be an idiot. Don't be like, oh, it's profound strength to express yourself, so I'm going to go do that in my day-to-day life. You get fired, you idiot. You know what I mean? Sorry, I take it back. Nobody's an idiot. I'm just saying that stands out to me. And I hear your point about wanting to be gentle with people. Sometimes I forget that everybody's not as much of a kook as me. Yeah. But it's like, to me, I feel like, come on, man. Have a crisis already. Because it's a ticking time bomb for some people that are like, got another raise. What do you think, Justin? What do you think of my new fancy car? I'm like, you're a time bomb.
Yeah.
You're living in a fantasy. And what are you going to go out like that? Like, to my dying day, I was lived as like a veneer of a human. You know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with raises. Not that there's anything wrong with things. Have things. But some people I feel like could use a change of heart, you know, like it would, and could use to just start being authentic and letting it all hang out and be honest and let your honesty alone course correct you to your most fulfilling life. You know, holy crap, all I had to do the whole time was be honest, and life sorted it out and got me right to where I wanted to be and revealed to me all the things I was like hiding. The society you're in, the matrix that you're in, will not tell you that. They'll tell you you're an idiot. Do not trust. You're not allowed listening to that Justin guy anymore. It's crazy talk. You know, I don't want you associating with him anymore. That's what society will do to you. Yeah. But do you want to have the life? Do you want to be awakened or not? If it's not for you, come back later after you've experimented and seen how much that stuff can really fulfill you.
Yeah.
Awakening can be so illuminating that it's easy to feel like you've unlocked some cosmic secret. It's not uncommon to start seeing yourself as someone special, a guide in a world that seems lost. The belief that you're chosen or superior can easily creep into your consciousness. You may find yourself with a strong urge to awaken others, to shake them awake for what you perceive as their betterment. Yet, this is where you have to be cautious. Your path is just that, yours. Everyone has their own journey, complete with individual lessons and timing. Trying to accelerate someone else's spiritual progress is like trying to open a flower bud by force. It won't quicken the blooming and could even harm the process. Don't mistake your empathy for a free pass to give advice no one asked for. Good intentions can sometimes translate into unwarranted interference. So, hold your wisdom close unless it's sought. Your primary tool should be love, pure, non-judgmental love. Love can be a gentle nudge that allows people to consider new perspectives without feeling pressured. Think of your conversations as a cup of tea. Love should be the water, the base, and your wisdom should be like the tea leaves, subtly flavoring the interaction, but not overwhelming it. If someone is ready and open, they'll ask for more tea leaves. Otherwise, a warm cup of water is comforting in itself. Remember, awakening is a unique and deeply personal experience. While your insights might feel like the missing puzzle pieces for someone else's journey, they might not be ready to fit them into their own life picture. And that's perfectly okay. So continue to share your love freely and keep your wisdom at hand for those who truly seek it. Awakening is both a gift and a challenge, a dance between clarity and confusion. Your authentic journey will guide you, and your empathy will enrich the world around you.
Great video.
Yeah.
Great video, by the way.
Yeah. Some good last advice there. You know, walk gently among the peers.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't, you know, a religion to go proselytizing no one in the spiritual path. It's not like a saving. They need to be saved. It's like when the time's right, it'll happen.
Yeah, but I also reserve the right to be my own person.
Yes.
You know, I can paradoxically see this and go, yeah, that's right, man. I agree with all of it. And then still behave differently than that. Because, I mean, this is real life. Yeah. And, you know, sometimes, you know, you're just trying to be authentic. You know, if the authenticity of yourself is somewhat hostile at times, then...
Yeah. It's weird.
Then
Sometimes
that's the reality.
Sometimes, I hear what you're saying, because sometimes things just come out of you. Like, I have a hard time, like, when you saturate yourself with certain topics, and, like, that's what you're, like, basting yourself in or whatever, it's hard for it to not come out of you when it's like, what else am I supposed to talk about? You know, like, this is the only thing I actually care about. Yeah. And I was like, I guess I won't talk then. I'll just, like, you guys do your thing.
Yeah.
And, like, so... Yeah, like you try to watch it when you can, and then, you know, it just eventually comes out of you.
And you can't control other people, man. You know, like you could even be like, well, I don't want to abandon everybody, so maybe I'll just shoehorn in what I really think and everything, and I'll be like, I've diagnosed you as severe narcissist. Somehow you make sports about spirituality. Narcissist. You know what I mean? And you can't control people. You show them how unaffected you are by their diagnosis and by going, maybe I am. Yeah, maybe I'm a narcissist. Even be open to it, because who knows? Maybe they're right.
Yeah. Well, good video for, I guess, wherever you are along the journey. Some pointers there that might help you out there. Hopefully, if you liked our reaction here, folks, you hit the like, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone till next time, stay spiritual.